Well, this is a Fox News alert. Former President Trump is safe after gunshots were reported while he was golfing at his club in West Palm Beach at the Trump International Golf Course, not Mar-a-Lago. The former president is fine, his campaign says, though shots were fired in the vicinity of the golf course. We're now waiting for an update from the Secret Service and police about all this. Hello and welcome to Fox News Live. I'm Eric Shawn.
And I'm Marthel Neville. So the Trump campaign did not specify where those shots may have been fired. And this, of course, is coming 2 months after the former president was shot at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. And we do have Sean Hannity. Sean is going to join us live right now from your home studio. Sean, unfortunately, we're talking about this very subject today, unfortunately. But What do you know? Have you spoken to the former president?
I've spoken to the president, and I spoke to his golf partner, Steve Witkoff, a well-known developer, businessman in Miami in the Palm Beach area. So I got a lot of details. I'm very aware of the New York Post report that said that it was, outside of what's called Trump International in West Palm Beach, which is where I am. And anyway, so long story short is President Trump, they were on the fifth hole. They were about to go up to putt. And the way Steve Witkoff, now, just as a little bit of background, Arthel, I happened to go to breakfast with Steve Witkoff and another friend of mine this morning. And I was invited to play golf. They happen to be really good golfers. I don't have a lot of time to play golf. So I said, thank you, but I'm not going to go out on the golf course and get killed out there. But long story short, so they were playing, they were on the fifth hole. And the way Steve described this, the way the president described it, they both had exactly the same story, which was that they heard pop, 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 pop. And Steve went into great specificity and great detail as to what happened right after. Within seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired. And long story short, they were I have confirmed with both the president and with Mr. Witkoff that the gun has been found. They identified it as an AK-47. And thanks to Secret Service drone video coverage, they were able to identify one individual involved in this shooting getting into a car after dropping the AK-47. And my understanding, according to both of them, is that that car has been identified, and I believe it's been surrounded. Whether or not that person has been apprehended or not, I don't know. This happened in a matter of seconds. A little more color, a little bit more details on this is that when they got on top of the president, immediately what is called a fast cart that I believe has steel reinforcement and protection was able to whisk the president away. And then the Secret Service immediately sprung into action. They had eyes on where the shooting had occurred. I saw the New York Post report that these were two people shooting at each other outside the course. I do know, and they did confirm that the shots were outside of the course, but certainly seemingly within range of the former president. So we don't have any details on any of that. They don't know that part. I only know the part of what they experienced while they were playing golf at Trump International in West Palm. Thankfully, the president is safe. Steve Witkoff is safe. The Secret Service apparently acted with incredible speed and professionalism, and but certainly alarming in every way imaginable in light of what happened in Butler, as you mentioned.
Yeah, of course, this is very alarming. And Sean, have you spoken to the former president or texted with him?
I have spoken with the president 3 times since this incident, and each time I got a new piece of information. One, that they had found, first of all, what happened with the shooting. The second thing, that they had found an AK-47. Third, right, that their drone footage was able to give them enough surveillance to identify the exact car that the individual involved in this shooting got into. And further detail that they gave me was that they were updated and told that car had been found identified, was surrounded by law enforcement. I don't know what happened from there. It could not have been too far away. I would say the time frame was less than a half hour between the time that the shooting actually took place and they identified the car. So
I'm trying to find out, like, how is he doing? That's what we want to know. How is he doing if you spoke to him?
Well, you really want to know the truth, Arthel? He goes, well, there's more details because I did hear, and Steve Witkoff was very clear. The first thing the president did when he got back to the clubhouse was make sure that everybody else was okay. He didn't see his golf partner with him. Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Where's Steve? And then Steve says, I'm right here. He got in maybe a few minutes behind the president. The Secret Service was able to get everybody to safety. Everybody else was taken off the golf course. Then when the president found out everybody was safe and nobody had been harmed, I guess in typical fight fashion, Trump said to Steve, and then he related to me, I really wanted to finish the hole. I was even, and I had a birdie putt, and it was on the fifth hole. Which shows a lot of, I think, guts and gumption and very Trumpian, I guess, in every way. But, the good news we can report is that in spite of this being in such close proximity to the president and others and the Secret Service, that they were not harmed and that they are in safety. And I know the investigation will go forward. Probably more details, I would imagine, as time unfolds.
Sean, for those who don't know that area, the Trump International Golf Course, West Palm Beach, across the causeway from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, it's in a residential neighborhood. You've got, Burger Kings and convenience stores all around. Any word do we know from police? Was this gang-related shooting, two gunmen shooting at each other's? And you've got to hand it to the Secret Service to have it drawn up and to be able to identify this, so quickly.
Right. There was only one credible news report that I saw, and it was a part of News Corp, which runs the Fox News channel, came from the New York Post, that they believed the shooting was between two people outside of the golf course. But there's not a lot of details to that as of this moment. Now, I would assume we're going to get more information from the Secret Service. I know that there were at least 30 to 50 sheriff and West Palm Beach police there. They responded immediately. I happened to be driving in and around the area. I drove past Mar-a-Lago to see what was going on. There was a heavy police presence. Ever since the shooting in Butler, that had been a very common scene, but not like this. It was more active than usual. But the fact that everybody's okay and 4 shots were fired, it's honestly, it's disheartening on one level, it's sad on another level, and it's scary on a level that, somebody with an AK-47 could be that close to the president or former president and top presidential candidate and, just 50 days before an election.
Yeah, Sean, you're right. It's very disturbing. Everybody's nerves are on edge. And as you just told us, the president, former president, in his true fashion, that he has kind of sucked it up and just said, look, I'm okay. My people are okay. And I wish I had finished my golf round there. But it is a very tense time. And we don't know exactly right now if, in fact, this was something that was directed at the president or this was something happening, separate from him. But it definitely was too close for comfort, given what happened on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I think, Arthel, you're raising a really good question, and we'll find out. And I never like to rush to judgment, and it has served me very well in my career. And I think that's why we got Ferguson, Missouri, right, and Duke Lacrosse and UVA and Freddie Gray in Baltimore. And early in my career, when the Atlanta Journal-Constitution said that Richard Jewell fit the profile of the lone bomber, because he lived with his mother. I was on the air at the time. I didn't know that Richard Jewell was even listening to my show. I found out later. And I said, just because he lives with his mother does not fit the profile of somebody that would be involved in a bombing. So when situations like this do unfold, I think the important thing to do is wait for the details to come in. The good news that we can tell you, I can add one little piece to the equation, is that the president got home very late last night. He had a rally, I believe it was in Salt Lake. He flew in, maybe got to Palm Beach around 2:30 in the morning. And when I went to breakfast that was planned with Steve Witkoff and another friend of ours, and when I went to breakfast with them this morning, we went to our favorite diner, and it's called City Diner, by the way. We went there, and the president had written him when he got back, any chance you want to play golf tomorrow? Because he had a scheduled lunch with the president. I was not a part of that. So long story short is that, you know, as of now, we know everybody's okay, but we've got to understand what the perimeter is, in my view, Arthel, which is what you were saying. You know, in other words, I would say we define a perimeter for any elected official, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, I don't care, that it's got to be within any distance of any long, high-powered rifle. That's got to be considered the perimeter going forward. We saw the Democratic senator this week telling America they're going to be shocked and appalled at what we learn about the Butler shooting, and we'll have an interim report coming out maybe this week or next week. And those words are chilling. That's Senator Blumenthal that made those comments. So long story short, I think there's a lot more that we have to find out. I'd like to hear from the Secret Service. I'd like to hear from law enforcement. I feel like a lot of information in the Butler shooting was very slow in coming forward. If this was an outside event, as the New York Post is reporting, fine. Let's get the details of that as well. The American people have a right to know. And we have to certainly re-examine what the perimeter is for any president, any presidential candidate, any high-ranking official in terms of the distance and the power of a rifle and what it could do. But to hear Steve Witkoff describe, he heard pop, 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 and the Secret Service diving on the president, and he's watching all of this unfold in real time is a pretty chilling scenario.
It must have been really frightening and harrowing. Thankfully, Sean, the president, the former president, is okay. And it kind of reminds me, remember when President Ronald Reagan was shot? His humor, he said, when he was in the emergency room, he said, "Honey, I forgot to duck," for the former president to say, I just couldn't finish my fifth hole. Certainly authorities will find out what happened here and if this indeed is a street crime.
He said that directly to me. Eric, he said, well, and then Steve Witkoff confirmed it. Once he knew everybody was safe, his first priority, he was in a bit of a panic about where's Steve, where's Steve, where's Steve. He didn't know what had happened because he had got whisked away in a golf cart that moves like 100 miles an hour. Then Steve is watching these guys on tripods, identifying the location where the shots were fired. And so he's watching that unfold, probably seeing his life flash before his eyes. Then gets back and he's wondering, okay, where are my friends? Where are the Secret Service agents? The president did go out of his way to praise every one of these agents. Steve did say that he went up to all of them individually, thanked them, shook their hand, told them how much he appreciated them. And then he went to I was even. It was the fifth hole. I had a birdie putt. I really wanted to finish the hole. So. Well. Classic Trump, if you ask me.
Well, we're happy that as of now, this is a good note to end on. But as you said, Sean, the investigation definitely will continue. And of course, we here at Fox will have all the details as we get them. Sean, thank you.
All right.
Sean, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Absolutely.
Okay. Man, welcome back, you guys. We're gonna talk about some of this Trump action. Because apparently people are after this guy. The question is whether or not this is legit, right? Is this a stunt, a publicity stunt, or is this someone really trying to take his life? You know, I know what they said earlier in reference to this happening outside of the golf course. It's still a little too close for comfort, right? I have another clip I want to play. I guess they're going to be talking about, I think the sheriff wants to speak on, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. The sheriff is going to talk about the suspect that was detained. And then I'm going to give you my personal thoughts as it relates to this situation, guys. Listen, I know I haven't been on live for a very long time. There's a lot going on. I've been traveling, backpacking around the world. And so I'm just now kind of getting myself situated. So We're actually going to do a live stream later on tonight, but this popped out and I got to talk about it because Trump is in the news. There's so much going on just revolving this campaign and the thing between the Democrats and the conservatives, the debate. You guys see I just dropped some videos on the debate, my personal opinions about how crazy this stuff is, the things that are going on, the migrant crisis, the crime, the drama. So we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to bring you guys up so you can give your thoughts as well. But let's go ahead and get into this news clip. This one is with Sheriff Florida. I think he's talking about the suspects. Let's see what he has to say. All right, this brother.
Out a very urgent bolo asking all law enforcement to look for a specific vehicle with a tag number and an occupant description. We immediately flooded I-95, got on the northbound lane at every exit between Palm Beach and the Palm Beach line and the St. Lucie County line. One of my road patrol units saw the vehicle, matched the tag, and then we set up on the vehicle by using what we do here. We pinched in the car, got it safely stopped, and got the driver in custody. Right now, as we speak, the FBI, Secret Service, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is at the scene. They've responded there. They'll take over the investigation. Our flatbed tow truck will tow the vehicle back to Palm Beach County. And I have a clear understanding from the investigators there that we actually do have the suspect that they were looking for in Palm Beach County.
Do we know that suspect's name yet?
We know his name, and the FBI clearly knows his name. I am not in a position to release that.
I know that Trump posted on Truth Social that they had recovered a AK-47, I think, near where the shooting incident happened. Anything that you can confirm for us if that's related?
I don't know any more about the scene in Palm Beach County than what you and the media have determined. I hear the same chatter. I think that will become more apparent in the next hour or so. It is my understanding from listening to the investigators, there was a very serious incident down there, and I'm sure they'll do some of these here in the near future.
Absolutely. We had heard about a separate accident that occurred at some point on the highway during this incident. Was there another accident involving pedestrians, or not pedestrians, but civilians?
Yeah, there was a serious accident just south of woods. We had a stop traffic vehicle using our bomb detection dog. We actually asked St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. They came down here. Florida Highway Patrol, under the direction of Governor DeSantis, moved in, took over traffic. But unfortunately, before we could get everything stabilized, there was a very serious accident, and they're working it now.
Do you know the condition of those people involved?
I don't, I'm sorry.
We had also heard from a couple of bystanders that they saw a woman and a child whisked away by deputies. We weren't sure if that was related to this incident.
No, we whisked nobody away. There was a lone driver in the vehicle. That driver is now in custody and in the hands of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
What was his demeanor, Sheriff, when you approached the car?
The suspect's demeanor I would describe as having a relatively calm, flat affect. He was not displaying a lot of emotions, never asked what is this about. Obviously, law enforcement with long rifles, blue lights, a lot going on, never questioned it.
Was he armed at the time, or he or she?
He was not armed when we took him out of the car. Of course, we didn't do a search, and I would suspect that they're getting a search warrant now. The FBI will take that car. We will transport it for them back to Palm Beach County into their office.
How long was the highway locked down to, drivers on the road? Hour plus?
The I-95 is still locked down. I had to come back here driving southbound the northbound lane where it was blocked off and then cut across. So I would tell your viewers, don't get on I-95 northbound.
Do we know? I know I had a lot of people stopping me asking if the turnpike is clear. Is that still open?
The turnpike is clear. To my knowledge, it was not involved in this incident.
Going back to the accident involving the civilians, do we know how many were in that car?
I don't have any information on the civilian crash. It's not related to the investigation, except obviously tangentially because they crashed because of the traffic stop.
Do we know too, I know you don't have much information, but was it two civilians colliding or were they hit by a responding officer?
Yeah, your question about whether there was the nuances of that crash, I don't have the information, I'm sorry.
Anything else to add, Sheriff, that I haven't asked you about?
Well, we're very pleased with the cooperation we've had from the Florida Highway Patrol. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office flew their helicopter in here to assist us, the FBI, the Secret Service. You could not ask for better interagency cooperation.
Sheriff, how did the complications, after you got that bolo, how quickly do you think the Martin County Sheriff's Office was able to spot that car?
Yeah, the time between when the bolo went out and when we had the vehicle was just no time at all. I had just sat down to have my only second cup of coffee of the day, and as soon as I heard the bolo, be on the lookout, heading to Martin, I knew we'd catch the car. I set my coffee down and started getting ready to come out here, and sure enough, we got the car.
Okay. Well, that's our most recent update. There's a lot going on. Of course, they have somebody that's detained. Interesting thing about this, the FBI is familiar with the suspect, right? Like this is so clearly this is going to be an attempt. This is going to be an attempt. According to the sheriffs, the FBI kind of knew who he was. So I don't know, man. That the feds have been slipping lately, right? The feds have been slipping. The question that comes to mind for me, honestly, you guys, is what is this perimeter that they're setting up where people are being able to get so close to where they can fire off rounds near the vicinity of Trump? Or was this a situation where these are, let me not say that. I don't want to I don't want to get too caught into my conspiracy. I watch too much TV. I will say this though, you guys. I've had the opportunity of working a detail for the governor of Georgia, one of the governors of Georgia, well, former governor of Georgia. He was coming to do a speaking engagement. Normally, when you have a high profile or high valued, I guess you would say, person, and they are going into an area of maybe like a school or an event, every agency in that area is notified, right? Everybody plays a role, whether they're out handling the traffic, they're handling the perimeter, they're inside, they're doing sweeps. You have which you would call kind of like a state secret service detail. It's kind of similar. Probably, I wouldn't say not as fancy because they go through some of the same training, federal training, and they do all the exact same things that Secret Service would do. And so the reason why the sheriff deputies were able to kind of pounce on this guy so quickly is because they're probably already staged within the area just in general. And if I'm not mistaken, there's an airport right next door to that golf course, if I'm not mistaken. You guys, we're going to take a look at the layout of this course. I'm curious to see where everybody was positioned. Because normally when you're talking about a golf course, especially Trump's golf course, it's quite large. So the thing is, where was he at golfing? I think it says on the 5th hole or something like that. He's probably really inside of the course. Where was the actual shooter at to where Secret Service was able to launch a drone, identify the vehicle that the suspect was in, give out an actual bolo, which means be on the lookout, relay that information so quickly that the sheriffs were able to stop and do a traffic stop on the car. The suspect left the gun at the scene, which is an AK-47, fled, but then also, according to Hannity, he said that the Secret Service, I guess, shot at the suspect, right? They returned fire in the direction of the suspect. Now, they're saying that there are 2 people who were engaging in a firefight and it had nothing to do with Trump. We don't really know all the details. If it was a criminal, said the video is kind of dark. It's the quality of this thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this system all set up. Hold on. I think one of the biggest issues just in general is the failure to properly so I can see just fine. I think one of the biggest issues with these type of situations is people get so comfortable. And I think after this first situation with Trump, where there was an attempt on his life, you would think that the area would be properly combed through, right? When you talk about a golf course, talking about a wood line, there's a lot of areas where someone can conceal themselves. But according to Hannity, according to the news, the Secret Service did a fantastic job making sure they jumped and piled on top of him, protecting him, was able to return fire in the direction of the suspect. He wasn't hit, apparently, or we don't know yet, but he was able to get in a vehicle, drive off, and they were able to stop him. And of course, according to the sheriff, he's not talking, right? But according to the sheriff, the FBI is familiar with the suspect. That's, to me, I don't know. This is going to be a long year. All right. And for those who watched my previous video that I just released in reference to my thoughts on how this whole election could turn upside down, you guys listen. It seems like everybody's desperate. Okay. Nobody wants to lose. There's a lot of stakes riding on this election. I think it's the last hurrah for our country to kind of really level set and get back in the right direction. And I think one of the biggest problems is that everybody thinks they have the right answer, right? Unfortunately, we're in a situation where it's hard to trust either side because there's bad and corrupt on both sides of the political aisle, right? And our government needs to be cleansed. It needs to be washed out. And the power needs to be restored back to the people because at this point, we don't have it. We absolutely don't have it. People are being censored left and right. You can't talk about certain people. You're gaslit all the time. I mean, it's a nightmare. So in reference to this situation, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that there are a lot of people who don't want Trump to win this election. They're losing as it relates to trying to put criminal charges on him. Those are falling apart. He's beating these allegations. He's preventing them from keeping him from running. That's not working. He's crushing it in the polls. He's pushing back on a lot of false narratives that are constantly being regurgitated and recycled by left-wing media sources. And the debate, though he didn't perform well, in my opinion, against someone who was lying throughout the whole debate, for those who know the truth about these things that have been taking place have been debunked. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. And to be honest, it seems like one side isn't trying to fight as hard because, in my opinion, I believe they already know that they're going to win. Kamala Harris is way too confident, and she's confident because she has the whole left backing her. She has media backing her. She has money backing her. Essentially, she's a puppet, you guys. And I know some people feel some kind of way about that. I've seen the comments for my recent video, and a lot of people feel a little triggered by that. But, I'm not here to tell you how to vote. Vote your heart, vote your conscience. Don't vote your emotions, all right? And damn sure don't vote skin color, okay? So hopefully everybody's voting based on policy, based on policy and character, policy and character. For me personally, for those who are curious, who say, just say you're voting for Trump. I am voting for Trump. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It's Trump 2025 or cry, all right? Trump or cry 2025. That's my slogan. I think those who understand what's going on, they understand, right? I can't convince you. It's like trying to convince somebody that the world is flat, right? If you're sold, you're sold. I can't do nothing else about it. But this is a very alarming for a couple reasons, right? To get back to the shooting, and then I want to hear what a lot of you guys have to say about it. If anybody wants to give their 2 cents, I'll drop a link. This situation with Trump is dangerous because for 2 reasons. It shows that no one is untouchable, okay? And by the grace of God, the reason why people aren't getting touched out here is simply because no one's motivated to do so. The reality is nobody is safe. No matter who you are, anybody's touchable. And people are getting a little bit too close for comfort. Now, let's say this was some criminal activity. Well, guess what? It'd be a bad day to be a criminal out here shooting, and you didn't know Trump was across the street. You're about to be detained and held for a very long time. All of your business is getting exposed. They're running through your phone, your computer, your house. And they're just not going to take any chances. So for him to make a statement and say the FBI is familiar with this guy lets me know that this is obviously going to be some type of an attempt. Maybe the suspect was shooting at was maybe trying to stop. I mean, we don't know. right? No need to even get into all the speculations, but we don't know. We just don't know as of yet. As more things get released, all we do know is that there are people who have issues with Trump who are willing to crash out, thinking that they're taking one for the team or for the country, and in actuality, they've drank the Kamala Kool-Aid. They drank the Kamala Kool-Aid, and they truly believe that by taking him out is going to really save the country. You know, I don't know, you guys. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's a long way to 2025. You know, and I believe that the opposition is going to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that leads me back to my whole conspiracy theory, if that's what we're going to call it for the sake of YouTube, is that if they can't win by sneaking and cheating and eliminating, they are going to use their final trump card. And what is the final trump card? And I said it in the previous video, the final trump card is all of a sudden we get a news breaking news. President Biden is, you know, breaking news. I can see it now. Breaking news. Mourning the loss of our president. And regardless, no one is wishing for that. I'm just saying that there are some really wicked people out here. And I believe the powers that are running the Democratic organization are willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I don't think that's going to be off the table. I think that's going to be their last Hail Mary. And we're going to hear it. And it's going to be like, oh, my God, we can't believe, you know, he's been battling with this. We're going to find out he's been battling with this, battling with that. And, you know, he succumbed to this and succumbed to that. And next, you know, Kamala Harris is going to be being sworn in as the president prior to the election popping off. And the next, you know, we're at war. The next, you know, she's like, I don't think I'm going to be able to leave the office right now. I got to handle these war duties. You guys, that's the thing. And guess what? It's going to be a lot of civil unrest. You know, we have people sneaking into the borders, and people always say, like, these are military age individuals. When you see them on these independent journalists are going around, they're filming people sneaking through the border. These look like well, healthy individuals. They don't look like they're coming from war-torn countries or anything. They are organized. They know where to go. They have help. They have assistance at the border. Some of the people who are assisting them are Americans, and they look a little CIA-ish, okay? And so, you know, the threat is within us. You know, the threat is within us. There's people playing treason politics right now in our country, and it's disgusting, man, you know. So there's just a lot of corruption, and there's people willing to do whatever it takes to maintain that corruption. Why? Because unfortunately, people have a price, and a lot of folks are getting checks cut. So I don't know what's going to happen, man. Trump is going to have to, he's going to have to lay low. He's going to have to lay low, to be honest. He's out here golfing after an attempt on his life the first time. He's going to have to chill now. He's going to have to pull a Biden. He's going to have to be in the bunker chilling at this point. So I don't know. I don't know. Someone said the debate with old girl was rigged. Absolutely. Yeah, I said it. I talked about it in the first video that I did. I said, you could go back and check the video, the first one I did before the debate. I said, y'all need to check Kamala's, make sure she don't have no earpiece. Check her notes. You know, make sure no one slid her any questions. And you can't make this up. You can't make this up. You guys, our country's falling apart. And the media is doing a disservice to us because they're not reporting the truth. Okay, they're not reporting things that are going on. People are living in misery here, right? The American dream no longer exists. We are currently living the American nightmare. But the media has done such an amazing job of gaslighting and confusing its people that now we're walking around here thinking that it's not that bad. Yo, people out here really having a hard time, you guys. And so it's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. So I did a quick little poll. Let me see how many people think. So from the poll so far, 68% said yes, this is another attempt on Trump. 33% say no. Yeah, so please check out the poll in the chat, you guys, when you're coming in. Please hit the like button, check the poll. I want to get your thoughts and see how you feel. So I don't know. Then I'm gonna check for some updates. But let's look at I want to check and look at this map of the area. I'm curious. Let me see if I can move this over here. Do this right here. Where am I at? Boom. Okay, okay. So this is the map of the where is it at? Just had it. Golf course. Yeah, just had it. Just had it. Okay. So this is the Trump International golf course right here. I'm just kind of get a little map action. Let me move this out the way so you guys can kind of see. Okay, and here's the airport. So it should be, I want to say it is this one, Palm Beach. Let me see. Let me double check. Make sure. He has, I didn't even know, but he has multiple. Yeah, this is it. He has, Trump has multiple golf courses. So this one is the one in Florida, Palm Beach. So this is where he was at. Let's take kind of like a good little bird's eye view of this. I'm curious just to kind of see. Okay. It's nice though. Damn. I might have to go and visit myself. Okay. All right. So, I mean, this incident, we don't know where it's at. It could have been anywhere. This Kirk Road here. We know it wasn't near the airport. So it's definitely around the south, the east, and the west side of the golf course. Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see if we can get a street view maybe. Where is it at? This map looks new. How do you get a street view, y'all? Or I mean, just click and it just shows up. Look, over here trying to be fancy. I can't even get the damn Google Maps to work. Anyways, I guess we look at pictures then. Anyway, so what's the likelihood of some criminals outside of this area right here just firing off some AK-47s, right? That to me, what this sounds like is somebody knew Trump was there. And he was being targeted. Okay, here we go. Or whatever. Nah, this is definitely. And I guarantee you the suspect is white, because if he was black, they would have said he was black. That's how the media rolls, right? So, you know, sorry, not sorry, but that's just how they do. So we know the suspect is more than likely going to be white. We look at all this, the entire golf course is covered by these palm trees and bushes. So when Secret Service says, and you know, we don't really know, we won't know until we know, but we come down on this side, it's still the same. It's still kind of covered like a perimeter. Let's look on the west side on Kirk Road. See if we can get over there. Okay, this is Kirk Road. Again, the golf course is covered like a perimeter. The shooting happened is probably over here on Kirk Road. Okay, look at these apartments. Okay. Maybe. Nah. They said they knew who the guy was. Yeah. So the golf course is over here to the right. What we have here is the road. So it makes you wonder, was somebody kind of hunkered down maybe in this area in the bushes somewhere and taking a shot we don't know, right? We don't know. I'm curious to see kind of where exactly the traffic stop happened at, because they are able to throw a drone in the air and then apprehend the suspect immediately. So I'm definitely curious about that. Let's see. Trump, Barry looked too much, never know. Yeah, this stuff is starting to look like a damn something out of a video game, to be honest. So this whole area, I'm trying to see if you can even get a view of the golf course. Nah, I mean, so they got the guy quick. He had to have been either outside here. They said he was shooting with somebody else, but again, the biggest key to this is that the FBI knew who he was. So we're now coming across this street right here is called Gun Club Road. Let's see. I don't know. I'm curious to know where it's at, but I'll check back on the news, see what they have to say in reference to if there's any additional information. Let me see. Okay, someone got some info. Okay, they said he was white in his 60s. The man's crashing out. You know, people think that, you know, someone probably paid him. The CIA, I'm gonna say this: the CIA has been slipping up on their job. I think they've been slipping up. But recently, too, there's news came out that there's some quote unquote agents who were trying to overthrow Venezuelan government. They just got stopped and picked up. So there's a lot going on. Okay, shout out to Chef. Shout out to the big homie. Secret Service opened fire at a man pointing an AK style rifle into the club as Trump was on the course. The person dropped the weapon and fled in an SUV and was later captured in a neighboring county. Okay, thank you, Chef. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's a good update. I appreciate that. So that makes sense. So this was an attempt. And for the FBI to know him, that means he must have been a gun nut, right? He must have been one of them gun junkies who live up in the mountains somewhere collecting a bunch of guns. For the feds to have known him, he's probably online saying some statements that he shouldn't say, and they're probably monitoring him. The FBI seem like they're watching everybody and not doing nothing at all. But that's what it seems like to me, because it seems like from all these shooters that we're having and all these suspicious shooters and gunners, and of course the guy who attempted on his life the first time, the FBI, everybody knows about him. My thing is, everybody that y'all know right now, you need to go ahead and pick them up. They need to be put in a facility so you guys can monitor them properly. So shout out to you, Chef. I appreciate that. Yeah. I need to holler at Kwame. I heard I seen some stuff he's been posting. He's been going in too on a lot of this stuff. I'm about to check him out. Tell him I said what's up. I'm about to reach out to him. So yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me see if any new updates though in reference to this. Let me just check real quick. Any new updates? And what do you guys think? What do you think? How crazy is this about to get? How crazy? Trump is going through it. Police shooting incidents give an update after shooting Trump near Florida. Okay, here we go.
What ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there. All right. So keep that in mind and we'll be good. So here we go. All right. 1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including the investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's tips.fbi.gov. Thank you.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple of areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe. There's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you. So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the first gentleman answered. I misunderstood, but I understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence with a chain link. Okay, so he saw that, the agent.
That is correct, yes.
And the president or the former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
100%.
That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there more?
Yep. Al?
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
Okay. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into it.
Reports of the 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explaining why?
Yes.
And
Yes, ma'am.
When going to the F-25, I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Which direction was the shrubbery? Was north, south? I guess east, west, or south is the road?
The layout of the golf course, you've got 3 holes, 5, 6, and 7. Right? One of them runs parallel to Summit Boulevard. One of them runs parallel to Congress. And he was in an area in the shrubbery where he could see both holes. So the president was another hole back, which means he's about between 400 and 500 yards away.
So he was on the golf course?
Oh, he's on the golf course, yeah, but he's back a ways.
For the Secret Service, have you guys changed at all the way that you guys are protecting former President Donald Trump? This now potential second attempt on him. Can you just elaborate on how things have changed and what you make of all this?
Yes, the threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported. So we live in danger times. So yes.
We're done with questions right now. There's really nothing more for us to add. I just want to tell you, the Secret Service and the FBI and the State Attorney's Office have been fantastic to work with. And I can tell you right now, our agency with this real-time crime center was fabulous. That's how we got the guy. We started out with, we don't know anything, to where we had a tag, we had a vehicle description, and we got an area where we saw the person. So be proud of your law enforcement. All right, thanks, folks. We'll get back to you.
Where on 95 was it that Sheriff wanted to show?
Yeah, she'll get the photos to you.
Okay. Okay. New poll is up. A new poll is up, you guys. Was this a real attempt on President Trump's life? Yes or no? I'm curious to know what you guys think. This thing can go two ways, right? This could be either a real attempt or this could be a stunt, it could be staged. This person could be a hired gun. This person could be a lone wolf, meaning that he's just one of those guys who sit on the internet and they're part of those little group chats that talk about how much they hate the country and they want to do something about it. They've been sipping the Kamala Kool-Aid and the Democratic juice, right? I call it the Democratic lollipop. And they believe that they have to be this savior for the country and that Donald Trump is the big bag boogeyman. He's the enemy of the country and he's here to destroy the country. And again, this is the type of rhetoric by calling him dangerous, by calling him a threat to democracy, by saying certain type of languages that trigger these people from coming out of their hiding places to try and commit harm, right? So this type of action has no place within our politics, you guys, within our government. But I think over the last couple of years, it just seems like the politics here have become a lot more dangerous, a lot more violent for both sides, right? There's been bad language used on both sides, on both aisles, right? Like either side is not exempt of this, but I've seen them do it during the protests, during BLM. There's been a lot of people on the left side that has been making statements that invoke an emotional response out of people who are emotionally unstable. And when you have people who are emotionally unstable, you mix that with all of the propaganda and the gaslighting that has been taking place through our media, people come out here and they do stuff. They act outside of themselves. People willing to cheat on elections, thinking that they're doing it for the greater good of the country. People who are easily manipulated. You know, there's so much that's going on in our country that's very shameful, right? These are third world practices that we're seeing, where you have citizens who are harming people who want to vote for an opposing team, harming a candidate willing to do whatever it takes. You know, these are things that happen in other countries, you guys. Our country is supposed to be better than this. And it's very, very, very embarrassing. It's very shameful. You see these type of acts play out in Russia, where you have opponents, you know, dying and plane crashes and disappearing. And, you know, we're seeing just a lot of people disappearing. There's a rumor going on now in reference to the debate that the whistleblower who was like, hey, Kamala cheated and her earrings are actual headphones, right? They're small microphones or they're small headphones. And so the rumor now on Twitter that's going on is that the person who whistleblowed and exposed all that died in a car crash the other day. I mean, we don't know, right? There's no way to verify, but there's obviously there's so much going on. People are, hey, you guys, look what's happening in our city. Look what's going on in our town. And then people are lying and saying, nah, that's not happening. And then you go and talk to the people who live there and they're like, nah, it is happening. You know, I'm looking at the people who are lying. I'm looking at the people who are covering up things. I'm looking at the people who are manipulating information. And you guys, 98% of all that is coming from the left side. All right. I don't care for either side. To me, I look at it as a bird, the wings on the same bird. Okay. Two sides of the same coin. Do you like heads or do you like tails? Some of y'all be like, I like both. Do you like heads or tails? Right? That's what this is all boils down to. The answer is we got to get rid of this two-party system. They have monopolized the game and they've rigged the system. And, you know, unfortunately, our government cannot be trusted, right? Our government can't be trusted. And we, the people, no longer have the power that we're supposed to have. That's the reality. So So anyways, let's recap. Please, new poll. Sorry, I jacked the poll up the first time. It was 60-30. 60 people said this is real. 30 said no. So let's redo the poll. The poll's back. It's just yes or no. Was this a real attempt on Trump's life? And I'm gonna kind of go through a couple things. Let's recap what the sheriff said. Okay, you guys. For those who don't know, I'm a former law enforcement officer, 13 years. I've worked in special operations. I've worked as an investigating, mainly specialized burglary and property, but fraud as well. So in special operations, I've been trained for these things, so I could give you my thoughts. You know, of course, I've used all type of weapons from shotgun, rifles, sniper rifles. So I know how these weapons work. Very proficient in them. So let me explain to you, because again, I wasn't here for the first assassination attempt. This is definitely going to be a second one. Or, I mean, again, we can argue both. Was this real or was this fake? But let's argue from the standpoint that this was a real attempt. Okay, what do we see here? Okay, you have Trump at the golf course. He's playing golf. He's on his fifth hole, I think they said. He's playing, minding his own business. Secret Service, they spot the scope of a rifle near the fence. The gentleman, he pulled a picture up. The investigator pulled a picture up, and I'm gonna have to see if I can pull. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can get that photo back, just so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me see, and that way I can kind of explain to you what it is that we're actually looking at here. Okay. Okay. So they said that once the Secret Service engaged, okay, they engaged because he did fire, right? He did fire. There was a because the first thing that came out was that there was a shootout between another person, blah blah blah. He is outside of the fence. He's outside the fence looking into the golf course, but he's approximately 300 to 400 yards away from where Trump was at. Meaning that I think he was waiting for Trump to kind of get further down the course to where he had a closer shot. But with the scope, and I can see the scope clearly from here. We don't know the make and model as of yet, but with the scope on a rifle, you guys, he can easily hit that target. All right, easily hit the target. So now what do we see? We see the suspect outside the fence. Secret Service says they saw the actual scope through the fence. Okay, they saw the scope and then they engaged. They quickly engaged. When they engaged, he let go of the scope and he ran. According to one of the followers here, stated that the man is identified as a 60-year-old white man. All right, he wasn't running far, but he already had his vehicle, of course, lying in wait. Then he had a book bag. What you see on the side on this photo, you guys, let me blow it up a little further. What you see on the side, the left and right side, those are ceramic plates. Okay, those are ceramic plates. That's supposed to act as a shield, right? Because he has no cover. All right, he has no cover at all. He's not a sniper. If he was a sniper, he would have had a what they call like a ghillie suit. He would probably have been covered with the brushes. His rifle would have been maybe painted to conceal his identity while he was actually engaging in the target. Okay, so this is definitely an amateur. He probably shoots in his backyard, but I guarantee you he would have made that shot if he felt confident enough. He would have made that shot. Would he have gotten away? No, I don't think he would have gotten away if he made the shot and it was successful. I think they would have definitely handled business. But here he has two plates on the left side, ceramic plates, you guys. For those who aren't familiar, when you have a vest, and I showed you guys what my vest looks like from my survival video that I did. Inside the vest, normally, for those who might not be familiar, like a military vest, what military wear, they put ceramic plates. Ceramic plates are designed to stop rifle rounds, okay? Like a 223 round, it could stop that round. So the ceramic plates is what we put in front of our vest to cover our vital areas. So what he's using that plate for is if he was going to be identified, he's able to hide. That's his form of cover because he doesn't have any trees or anything like that. Looks like anything strong enough to protect them. So he set that up. This is well thought out, right? He has hooks to hang him on, and because that's odd. He's hanging them. I mean, he has a good little setup. He has a very good setup. Here's the problem I have. His location and positioning is a problem. Why do I say that? Because let me move. Where's my maps at? Did I delete my maps? Damn, I think I deleted the map. The problem I have with this entire situation is this. It appears that he had some inside information. Unless Trump tweeted that he was going golfing at this location, how did they find out? How did he know he was going to be there, right? How did he know Trump was going to be at this golf course? Normally, when you have a high profile target like that, or a protected asset, you don't share information, right? You don't share your itinerary. I would like to know how the information got out that Trump was going to be there. When was that information given out, if it ever was? And if so, how much time did the shooter have to prepare? Because obviously he was hunkered down, right? This was planned. Obviously, this was planned. So if it was planned, he had prior knowledge. Okay, so if he had prior knowledge, where did he get it from? Someone on Trump's team is leaking sensitive information. It's just that simple. They got it from somewhere, okay? That's a problem. According to what the sheriff said, the FBI was familiar with this gentleman, which says a lot, okay? That says a lot. I wouldn't be, let me not stop it. I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if someone is contacting these people who they know have issues, right? And they know they're suspected, I don't know what term you would use, but people who are willing to carry out these type of, execute these type of threats. They have a database full of them. They know who they are. They're all over the US. It makes me wonder if they are commissioning these people, right? Commissioning them to carry out these acts and giving them the information that they need. You know, kind of like the first shooter. It was just way too convenient. Way too convenient. So the CIA is not supposed to operate on US soil, you guys, but it doesn't stop them from doing that. So, you know, yeah, a patsy. You know, obviously these guys, they get hired to do these jobs. And they're like, okay, come pick your money up. Good job. And then the handler gives them a soul bond and send them up out of here, you guys. They tie up all loose ends. They always tie up loose ends. You're not going to be on something as sensitive as a assassination detail, and then you get to walk away with that information. So I believe that, you know, for the FBI to be like, oh, we're familiar with this guy. You guys seem to be familiar with all these potential assassins, all right? These low budget assassins, you know. So this is his setup. Sounds like he got a shot off. Secret Service shoots back. He leaves everything. He runs for the car. They activate the drone. A witness sees the car he got in. They got the license plate. Here's the other piece that they have. You guys, all of our cities now, a lot of our major cities, if you haven't noticed this, they install cameras everywhere. Now, I used to not talk about these type of things, but this is now public knowledge. You are all being tracked, all right? You're being tracked. You can be the type of technology that they use, that these cities have put up, the facial recognition software that's attached to these to this equipment. You guys, it's over with. All right, it's over with. Surely, little by little, you'll start to see what I'm talking about. But they're able to track him through the camera system and find out where he was through his license plate. They initiated the traffic stop and they stopped him, detained him. He didn't talk, didn't say anything from the initial encounter. And then the FBI immediately took over, according to the sheriff. So as of now, I'm glad that they caught him alive, because now we can find out where all this is coming from. I won't be surprised if he's in custody and he manages to hang himself, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls an Epstein. If he pulls an Epstein, it's an inside job. All right, it's an inside job all day. Okay, so that's where we are, you guys, with this. I'm curious to know what you guys think. But I just when this popped up, you know, I was gonna live stream tonight, But shoot, this came up. I was like, no, we got to talk about this. So the question is going to be, is this a publicity stunt or is this real? I don't know. I don't know. The first one had to be real because they shot and killed the guy. Okay. But was it a setup? Right? That's a different conversation. Was it a setup? Absolutely, it was a setup. So that was absolutely a setup. In this case, they're activating these they're activating these guys and they're putting them to work, man. And this is just the start. And we got a long way. And here's the thing, too. Even after the election, if Trump wins, the threat for any president is still real, right? So it doesn't change something because he becomes president. The threat is still just as relevant. I'm telling you guys, I have a feeling that if whoever the powers that be feel like they can't get them this way, they exhaust all resources, they are going to pull the plug on Biden and just sneak Kamala in. That's how dedicated these people are at winning. That's how dedicated they are. Yep. They said the truth stronger than fiction. Publicity stunt. This man has children and grandchildren. That's silly. It's not silly. It's not silly. You know, I agree with you, but let me tell you this guy, I heard this guy talk about. He was describing the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats and what their mindset is like, right? This is someone who has worked, he was doing an interview. I can't even remember who the guy's name is, but he's worked extensively in the White House and government. And someone had asked him, because again, he shares my philosophy that Democrats and Republicans are just the wings on the same bird, right? You got the left wing and you got the right wing. And they asked him about the difference between both of them. And he gave this story. This is what he said. And this for you, Kenya, this for you. Kenya from Cali, this for you. This is what he said. He said, if the Republicans were trying to assassinate a man, this is what they would do, right? They have a man who's inside of a coffee shop. And the man that the Republicans need to assassinate is sitting in the coffee shop full of people. How do they carry it out? The Republicans will wait for him to leave the coffee shop, get in his car, blow the car up. All right. Target acquired, target eliminated. He said, okay, then you take the Democrats. Their target that they need to assassinate is in a baseball stadium full of fans. He said the Democrats will blow the entire stadium up. He said that's the difference between the two. I am telling you, based on the way they've been acting and the things that they've been doing, the things that they're willing to lie about, the things they're willing to cover up, the people who've disappeared behind the Democrats. I mean, if you just do some basic research, you find out people passing away mysteriously who were trying to expose certain people within that party, from different presidents and things, so forth and so on. I'm not saying that Republicans aren't capable of doing these type of things or whatever. What I'm saying is right now, someone says it's a ridiculous comparison. That's not my story. That's what the gentleman who works in the White House, that's his story, right? That's what he said. And I thought it was a very interesting comparison. The idea is not, don't worry about it being a ridiculous comparison. The idea is that one party is willing to not put people in danger to carry out their goal, while the other does not care about the collateral damage. That's the moral of the story. It's not about the comparison being ridiculous. It's about what someone is willing to do to make it look like they're not targeting somebody. So the idea is the recklessness. Someone said, how long have you been a Republican? I'm not a Republican. I just have very conservative values. My issue with Democrats and the powers that be at this moment who are running the Democratic Party is, I don't like the games that they play. I don't like the identity politics. I don't like the lies that they use. I don't like the manipulative tactics that they use. I don't like the gaslighting of Black people. I don't like the lying towards Black people. I don't like the constant promises but never carrying anything through. I don't like the constant, pandering, racial pandering. So there's a lot I just don't align with. I don't align with their policies. From a personal moral standpoint, even a religious standpoint, I don't align with anything that they do. I don't like how they operate. So I don't like how our government operates, period. I think we need a multi-party system. We need additional parties. We need better options. I have conservative values. So I'm not justifying who you want to vote for. I'm telling you why I don't like them. And a liar is a liar. Okay, a thief is a thief. And unfortunately, they have proven to be problematic. I think the unique thing about the Democrats and what they represent is that they have this, what I call the Trojan horse effect, where the person, they set it up to where we are attacking each other based off of color again, right? Poor people play racial politics, black and white. Rich people play political color, red and blue. All right. So they've created a system to where we're so distracted on colors that we're not focused on behavior. I focus on behavior, and I'm looking at the behavior of a particular party, and I'm seeing the things that they're doing and how they're manipulating, gaslighting. I can't roll with it. I've caught them in plenty of lies. I see the people that they hire to gaslight Black people and African Americans within our community. I'm not with it. I've seen it real time. Okay. So I know the games that they play. So I can't get with it. And again, they use this Trojan horse tactic. All right. This Trojan horse tactic. And what do I mean by that? They have provided this golden horse to Black people, okay, and even LGBT and the whole 9 yards, other minorities. And it looks good. But then when you look inside, you see how destructive and poisonous and toxic the things are that they're doing. What you end up finding out is that the people who represent the party aren't the problem. It's the people you can't see that are the problem. And those are the ones that are controlling and making all the moves, not the people that you elect, right? I think a lot of politicians on both sides go in, they start with good intentions, and then they get in there and they find out how corrupt things are. They get bought out, paid out, and you have these career politicians like your Hillarys, your Obamas, right? And you have the same on the right side. And they saturate themselves in power. And when new people come up who have great ideas, they stifle them, right? Because their great ideas don't match with the agenda of the overall party. You have billionaires running the game, okay? You have corporate interests that takes priority over the people. You guys were being played and manipulated, okay? And so it's very obvious what's going on. But people who aren't paying attention get caught up in the small, petty conversations, the back and forth of racism and who did this and who did that. And it's a distraction. Shout out to you. Thank you so much, Kenya, for this support. I really appreciate it. She says, I'm listening. I don't believe DJT is on either side. However, the story accurately reflects history. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me see if we got an update real quick.
With the chain link, okay, so he saw that, the agent,
That is correct, yes.
and the president or the former president was on the course behind him, how close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
100%.
That, because the bubble moves through the golf course. So our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there more?
Yep. How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
I got it. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
Not a long distance at all.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. That's
Wanted to kind of find the spot where he talked about where he was actually posted up at. You know, you guys, I think the moral of the story is they don't want us united, right? And this video, this is kind of them giving the final briefing about kind of how they apprehended the suspect. I was trying to find out where exactly he was located because I wanted to pull it up on the map. Let's see. I need like another monitor. Where's it at? All right, here we go. Yeah, so I was trying to see exactly where he was at to see if we can get like a idea. But for the most part, you guys, he was definitely in the bushes over here somewhere. I'm pretty sure he might have been probably like over here. And my thing, if he's on the main road though, if he's on the main road and nobody saw him posted up, we know he wasn't out here like this though. He wasn't on this side. He wasn't on this side. He probably wasn't on Summit Boulevard. He probably was on Kirk Road because it's more residential. He can probably hunker down a little more. Let me see. He was hiding in the bushes on Club Road. Let me see. Where's Club Road at? I had it earlier. Okay, here we go. Gun Club Road. Okay. So it looks like maybe somewhere over here. And we don't really know exactly where Trump is at. So I think so this probably makes a little sense. Yeah, he was probably on this side. Yeah, he was probably on this side around here. So I think once more information comes out, they'll definitely tell us where exactly Trump was in relation to what's the shooter. So anywho, you guys, you know, I know politics really gets people riled up. All I can say is that, you know, again, I'm not trying to tell anybody who to vote for. What I am saying though is definitely pay attention to the behavior. You know, try not to get caught up in what the media is saying. Do your own research. And someone like me, I because I worked in government, you know, I got access to a lot of things that probably people wouldn't get immediate access to. Sorry about that. Wouldn't get immediate access to. And so you just get overwhelmed with so much information, and you start doing research, start looking at stuff, and you're like, wow, this doesn't sound right. You know, and let me just say this in closing. I'm a firm believer that regardless of the politician, they're supposed to work for us. I don't really care if it's red or blue, right? If you have, as a community and as a citizen, there are certain things, no matter what, that either both sides need to be managing and taking care of on a federal level. And so my issue is when those things aren't being done. Okay, we could take, for example, a simple issue. We could talk about the border. And mind you, I think too, there might be here's let me give this example. On a federal level, I might vote differently than I vote on a local level. Okay. And I think sometimes we get caught in this idea that we got to vote Democrat all the way through. No, there might be a judge that's a Democrat that I might like their views, their character, their policies, and what they want to do. There might be a senator that might be a Republican that I like what they represent. They might be, you get what I'm saying? There might be a local councilman that has these particular views. So I don't think we should get caught up in saying I'm all blue, all blue. This is not a team, right? This is not a team. And I think that's the big issue. People are looking at this stuff like it's a team sport. And no, it's a policy sport. And the local politicians, you might vote differently than on a federal level, right? So I look at things like the policy, I look at the character. So I don't care for criminals. I don't care for corruption. I don't care for lack of transparency. There's a lot of things I don't like. But on this federal stage, there's a lot of sinister behavior taking place. And I'm not with it. So, you know, and a lot of it comes from the misrepresenting of facts and information, intentionally doing it. Can't get with it. So, at the end of the day, though, I think everybody, again, just focus on policy and not skin color. And if you feel confident and you like who you're voting for, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we've gotten to this thing where we're now shaming people for voting a certain way, calling them sellouts, calling them traitors, right? And all these kind of things. It's like everybody just respect who you feel strongly about. I think that's the big thing. But the issue is we all should agree that there's corruption on both sides that needs to be addressed. There's a lack of transparency on both sides that needs to be addressed. And as it relates to independent communities, individual communities like Asian, Hispanic, Black, right? Are we getting the best for our vote? Are we truly getting what we deserve for our vote? And a lot of inner cities, the answer is no. On a federal level, sometimes the answer is no, because we're still stagnant. We're still not where we need to be. And half of that is our responsibility. And again, our job, no matter what, red or blue, our job is to make them do what it is we ask them to do, right? Based off of our vote. So, you know, I don't know. But this election is getting tricky. It's getting tricky. So we'll see. Shout out to Cool Hand Luke. Thank you so much for that super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the love, you guys. It feels good to be back. I've been traveling so much. So it's good to kind of just get settled and kind of get restructured. You know, still have some traveling to do, but I got to sit put for a little bit. But let's see. Did I miss anybody have any questions, any thoughts before I jump off here? I'm not for police immunity. Let me see. I am not for police immunity. DJT lost plenty of potential support with that suggestion. I think the problem with Donald Trump is that he is not politically savvy as it relates to being politically correct with his speech. He says things and he doesn't properly explain things. Someone asked him about that, about police immunity, giving them full immunity. And they said, hey, can you explain that? Because he just speaks, he just talks. He doesn't have structure to a lot of his speeches, which is a problem because he ends up saying things that he then has to kind of go back and clarify. You know, a lot of people like that because they feel like he's speaking from the heart, which I do agree in some cases, but there's certain subject matter that are sensitive topics. And you have to be very, very careful with how you say it because the media takes it and runs with it. in this case about police immunity, he was referring to not giving them blanket immunity for all cases. The immunity is only in effect when they are acting under the color of law, which is what we already have now. Okay, so when he mentioned that and he was given an opportunity to explain it, if you just kind of look it up, I just challenge you to look that up. And he's going to say, yeah, someone asked him, okay, what if the officer's wrong? He's like, well, if the officer's wrong, then no, he doesn't get protection. This is for officers who are doing their job properly and acting under the color of law, which is what the law is now. The problem with the law is that people are abusing it, and they find a workaround. There's a workaround with the immunity law for law enforcement. I've talked about it on this channel before. The workaround needs to be adjusted, right? And I'll have to explain that another time, but there's a way to fix that law. But he wasn't saying that the police are going to get this blanket immunity and they can do whatever they want and not be held accountable. That's not what it was about. So just to be a little clear, just to add some clarity to it. He made a comment about Haitians eating pets. Yeah. Are you still in Atlanta? No, I'm not actually. I'm not in Atlanta. I'm not in Atlanta. Yeah, I'm gonna explain all that on the next stream. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a stream tonight at what time is it there? 6. I'll probably do a stream at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be an open mic where everyone can come in. If you have any questions, any thoughts about any previous cases, I've missed a lot of cases. I missed the case with, is it Massey, I think, or Macy? I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name properly. There have been some other shootings people were asking my thoughts on. So, yeah, open mic, any questions, we'll have a little powwow to kind of break down a lot of stuff. Of course, more politics talk. I give you my thoughts on a lot of things. Someone said, do you politically say Haitians are eating animals, and his son saying they all have a low IQ? The problem again with Trump is that he's politically incorrect. He's unprofessional when he speaks. He lacks decorum when he talks. He has qualities that aren't presidential, especially what we're accustomed to in this country. Like, what is presidential etiquette? He doesn't have it. Okay, he doesn't have presidential etiquette. He acts like he's a regular guy off the street who ran some businesses, and he's running for the office. So I agree 100%, you guys. He's unprofessional as hell. As hell, he's unprofessional. And I would debate anybody who said otherwise. Okay, he's tacky. He is. He's unprofessional. And again, I'm voting for whoever's going to do best by this country. I know some people are like, well, he's not doing anything for Black folks. In his job description, his responsibility is this country. And if you're doing what's best for the country, you're doing what's best for everybody. All right. We get into this color politics, thinking that they felt the same way about Obama. Obama didn't do anything for Black folks because he's Black. Obama's biracial, and he's the president for the people. He's not the president for an individual ethnic group or race group or whatever we want to call it these days, or a nationality, right? So I think we get that confused. If we care as Black Americans about what we are getting from our politicians, majority of us need to be focused on the politicians in our local communities, our state councilmen, our local officials, city officials. That's the mayors. That's who we need to be putting the arm on, the elbow on, the knee on, them people. And a lot of us don't even properly vote during our local elections. So, the feds can't do a lot. Not like you think they can. Not as much or have a biggest impact as those locally, right? So the feds do have an impact. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying that unfortunately, people put more emphasis on the federal election when the locals have a greater impact on you directly. So Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And if you like Democratic policies, move to a Democratic city. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. There's plenty of Democrat cities. And if you like how they handling policies over there, please feel free. Okay. So if you like San Francisco, you like California area, you like how they take your ass over there. All right. Why is my alarm keep going on? Oh, I was prepping for the stream. If you like their policies, go to a city where they have Democratic policies. Don't go to red side and try to change it blue. It is what it is. He made comments. Trump made comments about the dog situation. Okay. I'm clear on that, right? Yes. What do we know? We know the media lied and tried to cover it up, that people were stealing the pets, stealing the geese. Okay. They lied. They tried to cover it up. They tried to expose that information and they did not want to share it. Just like they tried to expose people sneaking through the border. Africans, Haitians, people from South America, people from China that were sneaking through the border, the American border. They lied about that, you guys. They found out that that was true. Okay. And the media was trying to cover that up. What else did they find out? They found out that they were allowing prisoners and migrants to get transgender surgery. They lied about that. Found out that that was true. So again, I just look at who the hell is doing all the lying and why. Why? Just be honest. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? So again, they talked about people being treated unfairly at the border and said it was this person's fault. Found out it was that person's fault. Again, I'm just saying. They said that there weren't Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment buildings. They wouldn't cover that. Found out that that was a lie. They just arrested about 8 or 9 of them just the other day. And when you have independent journalists, people, YouTubers and stuff, they're going into these cities and they're talking to the people who live there. And they're like, yo, this is what's going on. And you find out it's a shit show over here, you guys. So I'm just telling you that people are exposing things that the media and politicians are saying are not happening. So yes, are cats being taken and dogs? Yes, right? People are calling the police on the Haitian migrants. And again, this is not an attack against Haitians. You know, this is an observation that's being made and people are calling it out. They sent all of these migrants to a particular state, particular city. Why? No one's asking why this city. Why? No one's asking. They're sending migrants up to New York, Chicago. Why? And the people are saying, listen, they're giving them $20,000 on a card. They're giving them this. They're giving them free housing. And then you turn around and you're struggling. Why is this happening? The Democrats are allowing this to happen. And people are like, okay, let's vote for it. See, but until it happens to you in your city and you're feeling it, then you're going to change. You're going to switch. You're going to be like, I don't like these policies. And this is happening on a federal level. It's happening on a local level. So people are just expressing their observation and their frustration and the unfairness, the money that's being spent, billions and billions of dollars. I'm just saying. You know, we got to get out of this beef that we see going on between two parties and look at the policies, look at what they're doing. And just like Trump said, which is very obvious, they are already in power and they're telling you they're going to make it better. They can't blame anybody but themselves. They created all these shortcomings in our country. They're responsible for it. So the migrants getting flown in. China, they've seen, man, there's so much going on, you guys. There's so much going on. People can't afford groceries. Hell, can't afford rent out here. Come on now. How we don't even have it like that. We over here arguing what Russia doing, arguing with what's going on with Ukraine. Man, we don't got it like that. America need to sit down. We need to bring these troops back, sit our ass down, and all that money that we're putting on, we need to bring it right over here. Right, that's a lot of money. overall, I think was like $60 billion or something crazy. Man, please. We got kids. We're not even educated out here. It's crazy. It's embarrassing. So, there's stuff we need to do. And, you know, side note, as Black people, you know, the president's job is not to do for us, right? Like, that's just not how it works. His job is to do for the citizens. Like, you know, that's something we got to really kind of get our mind out of. You know, what you do is you make sure your representatives are supposed to be doing for your community, for your state. You're supposed to gather together, put your ideas together, what you want done for your state, for your city. Hey, this is what we want you to represent us on. Just like old boy is doing. You know, that's his state. Ohio's his state, you know, and he's representing the state. What is he doing? He's telling the people what his people are complaining about in Ohio. He said, listen, the immigration problem, the migrant problem is out of control. It's out of control. That's his job. That's Vance's job. That's his state. That's what he's supposed to do. So, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. So, shout out to you. So, I want to do another stream for everybody, so we can just kind of have a open mic, called open mic night. We can just talk about any topic you guys want to talk about. We can do it on the stream. So I don't want this to be too long. We're already hitting 2 hours. So listen, thank you so much. Thank you so much to those who contributed tonight, the donations. I really, really appreciate it. Such a blessing. Shout out to Kenya from Cali. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for this. And then also shout out to Cool Hand Luke. I appreciate the super sticker. Very grateful for the support. Feels good to be back. I know there's a lot to talk about. So we're going to do an open mic night, and in a couple hours. What time is it again? 6, 7, 8? Maybe 2 hours. I'll come back. Any question, any topic is on the table. You guys will come on here and we'll just kind of enjoy it. So let's see what happens with this Trump stuff, with this update. We'll know after the FBI get done combing through. Hopefully he lives long enough to tell us who's behind this. Oh, man. I don't know. It's going to be a long year, boy. It's going to be a long year. The YSL trial, I just can't. I couldn't with that. That trial is something else, too. You got them guys. Listen, and I talked about on the other video, the video I just dropped about the spiritual warfare stuff going on. You guys, these jokers are getting arrested. They are about to sacrifice a goat, about to cut the head and drain the blood on a pentagram inside the house right before Atlanta PD stopped them and locked them up. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the other spiritual realm. You know, we got to talk about it. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much. See you in a couple hours. And let me see, do I have all my little stuff set up in here still? It's been a minute. I haven't live streamed in forever. Anyways, you guys, I'll see you in a few. All right. Thank you so much. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Feels good to be back. Love you guys. Good night.